Hey, we are here with Improv Therapy Principles. I'm Rick Levine, and with us is Angela Nino, our CEO, Lisa Bany, the Chief Improv Officer, and Matt Benson, who is an improv intern this summer with us. Today's topic is a really important one to me because I do feel it a lot. Whenever I'm playing improv games or experiencing improv, I'm really conscious that it's helping me let go of perfection. In so many other places, I feel like, I've got to do it right. I've got to, just be perfect about something, or it's a failure or a near failure. And I wonder if each of you could sort of express why you think improv as an activity helps me let go of perfection as opposed to other things I might do in my life that really don't help me with that at all.
Yeah. I know improv for me is the place where I get to practice letting go of perfection. It's a safe place to do it. And it's the first time I ever got feedback that it was okay to be imperfect. I mean, that was the
Mm.
first piece of feedback that Lisa ever gave me anyone ever gave me in improv. Was at the end of level B, and we all went around in a circle, and Lisa was giving each individual feedback, and she said to me, "Stop trying to be so perfect." And I remember that hitting me in a really deep way, because in every other area of my life, as a 911 dispatcher early in my career, and teaching interview and interrogation techniques, it mattered that I got those things right, or the consequences could be very dire.
Yeah.
And I started applying that perfectionism to other areas of my life where it didn't need to be that way, like emails don't need to be perfect. And so having a place be where I could make mistakes and it was considered a gift, where I could mess up and it was okay, was such a relief for me to have, a couple hours a week where that was the case. And now I've applied that to other areas of my life. And, Rick, you tell me, we're going to fall forward. And that's, I know your very nice way of saying, it's not going to be perfect. We're going to do it anyway.
Yeah, as a entrepreneur, as a businessman, that's always been very important to me that we understand that we're just gonna try this 408 times before we come up with Formula 409 and have the disinfectant that we want to put out there. So I appreciate you, likening it to that. So Lisa, I mean, you've taught improv for decades now. Why is it that imperfection or that failure is a gift, as Angela phrased it, rather than a nuisance or a problem?
Yeah, imperfection is where we find humor, right? That's where the comedy comes from. If we did everything exactly perfectly, the way we think it's just supposed to be, just right, it would be really hard to find the comedy and the humor in that. So that's why we say these imperfections, those are our gifts. That's where we find all that creativity. The story that I often tell is something that happened to me. I was on stage doing a faculty jam at Second City with a lot of great faculty members, and I, for some reason, blurted out the word Bland-Aid. I meant to say Band-Aid, because that's a normal word. Band-Aid, that's a word that exists, and that's the word I meant to say. But for some reason, my tongue got a little in the way, and I said Bland-Aid. And in my head, I was like, oh, you're so dumb. Like, I can't believe you just said Bland-Aid on stage in front of everybody. But sure enough, my fellow improvisers are great listeners and very funny people, and they picked up right on that. And they ended up doing this great scene about this new invention, the Bland-Aid, that cures people of their blandness. And it was
Nice.
hilarious and one of the best scenes of the evening. And it was all because I said Bland-Aid. So it really, truly, we take these imperfections and we use them as gifts. I think especially right now, doing everything on Zoom, I keep telling my students, hey, if a cat jumps in or a roommate walks by, like, those are imperfections we can embrace in improv. You never need to apologize for those. Let's put them, let inspire some comedy from moments like that.
Awesome. I love that story. Band-Aid. That's going to become a new meme for us, right? I love that. So Matt, you were studying theater at Northwestern University. You're a
Mhm.
student of improv. You've been involved in a lot of improv therapy groups work last summer and this summer. And what's your sense of why embracing this imperfection becomes such a positive experience for people of all ages and experience?
Yeah, I think for me, the thing that improv always reminds me is that perfection is subjective. That what I think of as perfect is just my vision of what's the best possible scenario for me. And the nature of improv, that it's collaborative, that it's working with other people. When we play games like One Word Story, where the finished product is by definition this accumulation of everybody's ideas and everybody's input, that when that's going to be the finished product, there's no way it's going to be perfect based on my definition, because it's not just mine, it's everybody's. And improv reminds me that outside of just the performance sphere, that sort of in everything that I do, the goal is to work well with others and to work together to create things that none of us are able to do on our own. And by that very definition is going to be imperfect, because none of us were on our own able to perceive it or think of it or create it that way alone. We all needed each other.
Beautiful. Well said. I really appreciate the thoughts behind the working as a team, working as a group, the concept that if I just, even if I say the wrong thing accidentally, if I make a trip of the tongue, that very thing could become the spark of something beautiful and wonderful. And I love the concept that there's often no space in our life where we are given the opportunity and the environment to just make mistakes, and that it's okay, and in fact it's embraced, that we don't need to worry that among this group we will be seen as failing or imperfect or wrong. And in these polarizing times of us, saying that it's black, it's white, it's red, it's blue, it's white, it's black. So it's refreshing to hear these three tales of how we can learn to live with imperfection, if not embrace it, through improv games and exercises. Thanks, everyone.